In this video, Matt Gentry, who is from the Sage North America company, talks about his experience in working in a small company before he joined the North American Sage organization, and this company using Sage CRM and how he helped them to be even more productive with the product.
Yes, and he opens specifically on a situation that's the change of staff through employees leaving to show how the system enables quick and easy movement of data when you need to reallocate data, that's the contacts, leads, opportunities, etc., to other people. So it's over to Matt for his walkthrough.
Hello, my name is Matt Gentry. I'm a field sales engineer here at Sage. I'm going to discuss with you today what to do with the company during any type of reorganization. First, a little bit about me. I was a CRM administrator for a company for about 8 years. I've worked very closely with sales, marketing, and the service arms of that organization. The organization I worked for was small, so we reorganized and had many employees coming and going. We would hire a good young salesperson, and in 2 to 4 years they would move on to a bigger company. That always left us with what to do with the leads, companies, and opportunities that the person owned. I had a series of reports and views that I set up to help me with the ownership transfer. I would like to demonstrate how to set up groups so that they can be mass updated within Sage CRM. So the first thing we're going to do is the easiest, and that is when a person leaves the organization. Generally, what you're going to do is you're going to transfer all of their companies, contacts, and opportunities and leads to another person. The easiest way to do that is through the administration screen. So we will go there once I'm logged in. Under the administration screen, we are going to go to click on users, and then this user's icon in the top right corner here. This will get us to all of our users. You'll see here that I can hit the find button and it will find all of my users. Brian Little is actually the person who left. Fortunately, we've been able to the time that since Brian has put in his notice, we've been able to hire Jenna Ehrlich here. So Jenna Ehrlich is going to be receiving all of Brian Little's all of his contacts, leads, companies, and opportunities. So what we'll do here is we'll click on Brian Little, and you'll notice on the right-hand side that there are some buttons here that we can utilize. First one is just reassign. Reassign means that Brian is still going to be an active user within Sage CRM, but we're giving away all of his objects, if you will. We're handing over ownership of all those objects, reassigning ownership to the next person. Or what we could do is just plain out disable him, but that would leave all of his objects associated with him, and we don't want to do that. We want to reassign and disable Brian as a user, and we want to reassign them to Jenna Ehrlich. So we'll go ahead and hit the reassign button here. Since we know that we are going to be reassigning this to a user and not necessarily a team, we'll keep the radio button for user selected. We'll hit this lookup button here, and you can see this populates this full drop down here. And Jenna Ehrlich is the person that we want to reassign these to. We want to make sure that we get all companies and all people that were assigned to Brian to now be assigned to Jenna. The other thing we know is that since Brian was on the sales team, he does not have any cases, he does not have any communications, nor does he have solutions that we need to transfer. However, Brian does have leads. Now, by default, it picks up every single lead that Brian had, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to transfer every lead because the reality is the ones that were converted to an opportunity and the ones that were closed out are leads that we don't want to work with anyways. We just want the leads that he's currently working with. The same goes for opportunities. We don't want to take all of them. We just want the ones that are in progress, the ones that he hasn't closed out yet. The ones that have been closed for whatever reason whatever the reason the company backed out of, those are the closed ones, and the one lost are the ones, of course, that those just are in the books also related to Brian. We don't want to transfer them to Jenna because we want that for future reporting. So then what we do is we go ahead and hit the go button up in the top right here. It will then give us a prompt to let us know how many of each objects are being transferred. You can see here that there's 102, 103, and 10. Leads, they don't have a lot of leads. The way our organization is set up is we have a telesales team that takes care of all leads. So it's just persons, companies, and opportunities that are going to be transferred. And once I hit the continue button, you'll notice now that everything has been transferred. Well, behind the scenes, everything's been transferred, and Brian has now been disabled. Now, if we go to one of my reports here, I have them under my favorites for this point. At this point in time, you can see here, if I look at my opportunity totals by owner now, and I run this report, you're going to see that Brian Little is no longer there, and Jenna Ehrlich has all 10 of his opportunities, as well as all of his companies and everything else that was associated with his user. Now, the next scenario we want to talk about is when we have too many leads for a particular person, or too many things to do for a particular person. In this case, we're going to be talking about Trish Simmons, who is kind of overwhelmed with her job. Trish works on our telemarketing team, which is the pre-sales team. So she helps generate the opportunities, hands the opportunity over to the salesperson closes it. But Trish has a number of leads, and she's just got too much work to do right now. So what we've done is we've gone and hired somebody to help out with Trish and help her with things. But what the first thing we really need to do is figure out, well, what are leads that we can work with, and what's the issue here. So let me run this report right here. This is just a straight showing me all the leads that are in the system that are in progress right now. And you can see Fred Jones has 60 leads, but Trish has 157. Probably twice the amount of leads that she should have. So that's why we hired somebody new. But what are those leads, and how can we break those down? Well, there's a number of ways that we can do so. So I created another report here called the leads in territory. So if I run this report and I just hit go, you're going to see that I could have done some filtering on here if I wanted to just show me Trish's leads, but I didn't. But you're going to see that, here's the leads from Susan May, that one lead from her, and then all these from Trish, and then here's all the ones from Fred. These are the 61 from Fred, and then also the 157 from Trish. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that there's not a state populated for these particular leads. So one of the things that we can do, though, is we can transfer over any lead that has no state associated with it. So we can filter these down just to take these 100 leads without the state, because the reality of the situation in this particular organization is that when they start to contact these leads, they fill in the information about the lead. That includes the state. So that's part of what our process is. So if they don't have a state, the most likely thing is Trish has not contacted those leads yet, or not enough that they've gotten back to her. So we're going to hand these over, these 100 leads over. Well, if you remember from earlier, when we transfer, we go to the administrator screen under the users, we transfer everything. It's a one big fell swoop, but we don't want to transfer everything that Trish owns. So how are we going to go about doing that? Well, we have a concept called groups inside of Sage CRM. So what this allows me to do is I can create a group, and I can create what's called a dynamic group. And I've created one here, and this is called leads to transfer. So what is leads to transfer? Well, what this does is this runs through, and this literally all this does is it gives me every single lead in the system that is open, things that haven't been converted or closed out yet. So I have 219 leads that are in the system that are going to be that have potentially that I could transfer over if I wanted to, and you'll see what I mean by this in just a moment. But I don't want 219 leads. I only want those 100 leads. So what am I going to do? I'm going to change this group, this dynamic group, and configure it so that I can get exactly those leads that I want. I don't need to change the name or the description here. I'm just going to continue through this on this group. But what I do notice here is that I just have the assigned to and the status that it's in here. What I need, again, is the lead state. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the state that I'm doing. It could be the territory. I could have this broken down by territory, by team. I could have it broken down by even their source, where the lead came from, so on and so forth. I can pretty much filter and look at any lead any way that I want to, but in my case, I know that state is what I want. So I'm going to put the state in here, and I'm going to hit continue. And now this is going to get me to that search criteria. This is the state that I just put in here, the lead state right here. All I really want, though, is the ones from Trish, and I want the ones that are in progress, and I want where the state is empty. Now, if I hit continue, you're going to see that, yes, it's giving me these 100 leads. These are the exact 100 leads that I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And then you'll notice on these sets of buttons here, once I'm in this group that I've now modified a little bit, I have the options on the right-hand side to do mass updates. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. These 100 leads, and again, this isn't all of her leads, those other 57 or whatever it was, whatever that number was, those are still going to be kept with Trish. But these 100 leads, I'm going to mass update. And what I want to mass update on this could be any one of the fields that I have access to within the lead itself. mine is assigned to. I want to change the owner, basically who is assigned to that particular lead, the owner of that particular lead. And I want to hit continue. I'm going to pick out, I could type in the name if I wanted to, or I can hit the lookup button here. And I have a person named Garrett Davis. Garrett is our new hire. Garrett's great. We're excited about Garrett. Let's get him some leads to start calling. So go ahead and hit save here. It's going to say, you want to do this? Are you sure? Click OK. 100 leads are going to be done. Hit continue. And now you'll notice here that this group that I created, this dynamic group, has no leads in it because it's filtered down for Trish and for her ones with no states. She doesn't own those anymore. We just transfer those. So this group, what I need to do is go back and change this and get rid of those things. But let's take a look at what actually happened with the data itself. If I go back to my favorite reports here and I go to my lead totals by owner and I run this report, you're going to see that indeed Trish Simmons still has 57 leads and now Garrett Davis has 100 leads. So now we've transferred just the ones that we wanted to. And keep in mind also that I did this for leads, but you could do the exact same thing for both companies and for opportunities. And it will transfer just the ones that you want to. Do that all through a group itself through the mass update. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was these reports that I have. So you'll notice that I created reports and I have them listed by 1. I also have them listed by 2s and by 3s. So the 1s, because my organization does a lot of their restructuring by owner. So I'd like to know how many are there. These are 3 reports that show me charts of how many owners own each of these different objects. This is by territory, so these are where they're located within the territories themselves. And then I have a third set of reports that are just details. So let's real quickly look at the company details and edit this one. If I look at this, you're going to see that it's just a company details name, and the company summary is the view that I'm using. It has all the company columns along the side here that I can add to my report contents. These are just the varying categories that I have. By the way, keep in mind that I could use custom fields too. So if I've created a custom field that I think could break down my viewing of my leads a little bit better, add that into this, and you can actually transfer leads based off of that also. And then all I did is I threw in account manager and territory for my search criteria. I'm not going to filter off of that, but you'll see that when I run my company details report, once I run this, it's just a graph of all the data, but it gives me everything that I could potentially break this down by. So if I can't break it down by territory, maybe I can break it down by the amount of revenue that the company generates. Maybe I can break it down by the number of employees that they have. There's many different ways that you can break this down, but that's basically where the reports come from. It's and why I use them. It's just to give me more information as to who I should transfer, how I should transfer them, and it's going to be a lot based off of how your organization wants them to be transferred also. So this was the way that I perform my data transfers, any reorganizational type things that I needed to do with the objects within my CRM database. I ran a number of reports. I looked at the data, I investigated the data, how it, what was important to me and to the organization. The important thing for us was who owned it and the territory that they were in, the object was in. We did things mostly in the US, so it was based off of states or provinces in Canada. We also had groups that were in Europe and so on, but those are slightly different. But bottom line is you can divide up the data any way you want to and use a group to transfer it. My name is Matt Gentry. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to me. My contact information is on the screen, and I'd love to be able to get a chance to talk with you.
So that's really useful to see real world needs in action there, Jeff.
Yes, and showing tools like lists and groups and reports helps people understand the power of using your data to improve your own data quality, data understanding, and data manipulation. Not just focusing on CRM as a capture tool, but also as a tool to improve the understanding of what's going on inside a business.
Yes, so it's thanks to our colleague Matt Gentry, based in our Sage North America company, for his thoughts on using the tool for everyday business benefit.